I said, hey yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Mojados, and we're back for a monthly XRPL technical analysis. We're going to be covering everything XRP here. You guys know we do this monthly on the channel. And without further ado, let's jump right in to XRP. Taking a look right now, we got about $23 billion in market cap, 50 billion of total XRP has been released to the market. We got some amazing news as well today, which we're going to cover. But again, this is mostly a technical analysis video. I don't want to be covering too much of the news fundamental side of the ledger. So yeah, moving on. Taking a look at the first thing here, right? So, from last month, there hasn't been a real update, right? For the most part, you can go back and what you'll see from the last month's update is that we anticipated a move and we got to snipe the move from the bottom. And this month, if you look closely, this candle has kind of been a corrective candle, right? Because you have to remember something. When you're running, you have to take a stop to breathe, right? You have to breathe. You can't keep running forever. And sometimes we can look at these hints to kind of give us an idea of what we expect. But again, let's focus on the grand picture first and we'll dive in slowly. So first things first, let's take a look at this range, right? I kind of outlined this in my last video. I'm going to do it again for those who missed it. But a range has two sides. And both sides of the range is basically meant to trap longers and shorters, right? Late longs get trapped at the top and late shorters get trapped at the bottom, right? When price pushes them back up, they're forced to sell. Same here on the other side of it, right? And so basically it chops you up in this range, and we've kind of been ranging for about almost 1800 days we're approaching. So one can assume safely that we're definitely in a correction, right? We clearly didn't hit all-time highs despite the range, giving some significant gains, right? From 15 or 11 cents all the way to $2, almost 20x from the low. So we definitely have been chopping. And right now we're basically, have identified three levels, and what these levels mean essentially are basically zones of interest, right? Green is a buying zone, red is a selling zone, and gray is a neutral zone, right? And you can clearly see here that these zones are very valid, right? Anytime a zone becomes a resistance, of course, like we saw, this used to be green, right? But because of the rejection up here, it became red, and there's another rejection here. And this always acted as a neutral zone, but currently it looks like this area is the most defended until obviously we broke past this level. And then, after some time, it went from being green to turning red because of the rejection up here. And so that is kind of how you get to gauge the market, by looking at certain levels. And trading is very simple, guys. You don't have to know a lot of things. If you're able to zoom out, look at the monthly time frame, understand the big ranges here, then you will be most likely set up in the right place to basically make the best decision. Because the big market makers, the people who are looking for a lot of liquidity, they're not looking at the 1 hour, the 2 hour, because they can't get their orders filled there. They're looking big ranges, okay? And so what we can see right now is that, yes, price has moved off of the low of this gray box. And what I expect right now is, and we can zoom down, of course, the monthly candle has closed, no real update. Let's zoom down to the 2 week. What we can see here is no real update except the correction. And I actually want to zoom back out for a second to show you guys what the monthly RSI looks like. It's definitely in a neutral zone, okay? And you guys can see here 47.19 is a neutral zone. Anytime it floated above here, it could basically coil up at any moment, right? And this level that I have here, 53, whenever price is above that, that is when you can expect the market to basically go on a rampage. And this kind of translates down to every other time frame. So let's go down even lower to the weekly time frame and let's dig in. So it's clear to me that we have bounced off the lows. We had bullish divergence. We had this nice little range build up and push the price higher. And what we're watching for right now is to see whether or not we can continue with momentum to the upside. Now, when I look at the RSI, I do see momentum to the upside, of course. But the question is, again, do we continue? And one way we can measure that is looking at EMAs. Right now, we can see the lower EMAs, right? Whether it's the 8, the 13, the 21, price is acting as a support. And we see the 55 and the 200 acting as a resistance, which is pretty clear. Okay. And anytime we saw basically that price crossed over the 55, you can clearly see here, this is, a big explosion that price essentially follows after the cross of the EMAs, especially when you see that the 813 and 21 cross. I mean, you don't have to use the setup, but this is one way you can use EMAs to kind of measure momentum, because they can kind of give you an idea that, hey, listen, maybe in the coming weeks, as these EMAs kind of get closer, we can expect the 50 and the 200 to go lower. Meanwhile, all these little ones go higher, kind of giving us an idea that, hey, listen, it might be a time when this all flips. And I like to use it personally. I like to use it personally because, it's one indicator that, I don't put too much, of course, priority on, but it's something that you use. It's like a tool. You don't use one tool to make all your decision, but of course, looking at these levels is probably the most, significant thing. And we are trending here right now, which I think is interesting. We're trending here, but we have not broken below. And that's the interesting part. How many times can we tap this lower bound of this resistance before we break higher, right? So right now it does look interesting, and then we're going to zoom in even more. So let's go to the daily time frame. And this is where I think it gets interesting, because what we're starting to see is a breakdown, in my personal opinion, of what exactly? A flat correction. That's right. So in the last month's update, what I thought was happening was a flat, but something like this, and I think I did this wrong again, so I think it's actually like this. Yeah, perfect. There we go. So something like this per se, and this is not exact, I'm just giving you guys an idea, but a flat like this. And this is still possible, which I will cover later on. But what I'm starting to believe is that we're still in a big Elliott wave 1, 2, 3 that looks something like this. And there's no exact here that I'm gonna give, but I'm just gonna give you guys a very easy, understandable, count. Okay. And I try to make this as simple as possible, because I know that not everybody knows the intricacies of Elliott wave. But if you were to count a 1, 2 here, what you're starting to see is another 1, 2 inside of the major 1, 2. Okay. So it's kind of like Inception. It's like a mind fuck, right? Because if we look inside of this major 1, what you're seeing here is potentially, let's just say that this is a 2, this is a 3, and 4, and a 5. I'm just bullshitting here, okay? This is not exact. And actually, that's a horrible example. If I was to actually count that up, it might actually start from lower, right? So maybe something like this is probably clear. That could be an A, B, C, and then this could technically be argued to be a neutral triangle down 4 and 5, right? So this is very, very intricate, and I'm going to break that down for you guys just so you guys can understand exactly what I'm trying to do there. And again, this is not exact. Usually I like to look at the subdivision and how each correction can play out, but what this can be considered is definitely a neutral triangle, some type of A, B, C, D, E correction there. And it's very sharp. It's very, very sharp. It looks very, very strange, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to make it as simple as possible. But what you guys can imagine here is that basically there's a big one, right? A big 1, 2, 3. And inside of that one, there's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside of it. So it's kind of like Inception in some ways, which I think is something that we're not considering. And this goes to show that we are starting potentially another sequence right now. And that could be right here. 1, 2, right? Well, this is a 1, 2 there. And this is a flat correction. This could be a top of wave 3, 4, and then maybe a 5 running up higher. So this is going to be something to watch. And the reason why I'm starting to get a little bit more bullish here is only because the subdivision that we're seeing here in this zone specifically. So this looks like to me some type of ABC correction. And, this is, again, is clearly some type of 1, 2. This is a 3, and I think 4 is playing out there, and then I think we definitely get up to 70 cents in the near term. Okay, so for the most part, I'm pretty bullish here, and also there's other things that I like to use to kind of confirm my bias. So at the end of the day, one tool, like I just mentioned, the EMA is not going to do it, right? We like to use multiple tools. Taking a look at the XRP BTC chart is another indication, which also had another interesting monthly close. And what you guys can see here is that the RSI level is also at a bullish zone. And at the same time, I like to look a little bit down as well to see, okay, what else is happening? What else am I missing here? could there be something else? And we're sitting back at this 8 EMA, which again, I don't want to put too much weight on, but we gotta acknowledge it. Still, we have to acknowledge it. 8 EMAs is very, very strong, especially when a trend is like breaking out. So this is something else that we can watch out for. RSI did have a nice breakout, but keeping the momentum to the upside is going to be something else that I am like monitoring for. But I do think that we're going to probably keep seeing more of a range that plays out here. Now, this is not as bullish as I was hoping for, but this can also be considered some type of flat, right? Some type of A, B, C coming down, right? So this is a different kind of flat. You know, there's a running flat, an expanded flat, and there's a regular flat. This went lower than A, so this is automatically considered a expanded flat. So is this the end of this move? And that's the question we're all waiting to find out, because I personally believe that because XRP USD is going to start moving up, I would like to also believe that the XRP BTC is going to start ramping up here as well. So, you know, we're going to watch very closely, and I'm very, very excited to see how this is going to play out, only because still the RSI is very, very bullish when you look at the weekly, looking at the monthly as well. And it's going to be, again, you know, another tool that we can look at as well. And also I want to talk about the bearish case, which I did talk about last month as well, where we can be in some type of channel trending downwards, right? Where this can be, you know, some type of, let's draw this out again, some type of ABC down, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, and it could start even higher, right? This could have been a, you know, a 2 could have ended here. This could be like part of a 3, and then a 4 can even end over there, and then we can get a 5 down, right? This could be 100% a channel of some sort. And until we break past this trend line, which I'm definitely watching for, that is going to be something that we definitely, again, have to monitor very closely. Because if we do break past this trend line, then that is going to be an extremely bullish case for, you know, price action. So again, you know, 70 cents is my first target. And, you know, there's no real updates here. Price action is very boring, very choppy. And this is usually when people get, you know, kind of kicked out of the market, because they're getting bored. They want volatility. But at the same time, when you look at what's happening on the XRP ledger, which kind of contributes to the price, XLS20 was just launched, right? And so this is going to bring a lot of speculation to the NFT market. And anytime you transact with NFTs, you kind of need to buy XRP. So there's going to be a bunch of people who might even get involved in NFTs, which will, you know, of course, I'm speculating, would buy XRP, and then of course minting and all that fun stuff was going to be, you know, boost liquidity. But all in all, I think it's a net positive for people getting involved, because as you guys know, XRP is burning every single time it's sent or transacted with. So that is very, very important. And you know, just taking a look at 3 charts, make it very, very simple, right? XRP BTC is bullish. I think XRP USD is very bullish, because we're sitting here in this daily time frame. You know, we'd have a nice little flat. I think 70 cents is going to be the next range. And also, you know, this is another chart we can add here. This is the total chart. I think that getting back into here is going to confirm that, hey, listen, price might move higher because the total market is looking like the bottom of this range was a deviation. Okay, so that's another thing that you can kind of add to your tool of, hey, listen, maybe the market might start moving up off the lows, just like we saw here. The market trapped people at the top of the range, and now what we're seeing is this big deviation. And if price gets back in here, I would be very, very confident in saying the XRP bottoms in. But until that happens, we can only speculate. All right, that's what kind of what technical analysis is. We basically forecast with looking at, you know, certain, you know, correlations, price action, momentum, volume, hype, whatever the hell you want to use. But it's all very important because it gives us a picture. And also, the last thing I want to share is ETH and BTC dominance. If you guys see here, you know, the last alt season that took place was because obviously, you know, alts are stepping up. You know, there's more competition. That's part of the reason why. But the timing of it all is very important. And what we can see here is that we saw a long, drawn-out correction, literally that took, you know, forever, you can say, right? And it's still playing out in some ways. You know, look at this, 532 days. And we're waiting for this to close. I definitely believe a next leg is going to come down. Now, will it result in new all-time highs. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that, hey, listen, there's gonna be a opportunity if it happens that alts do go on a rampage here, and I've presented to you the reasons why, because of the dominance, because of the total chart, because it's possible that we can get back into the range here. I also believe that this chart is very, very bullish. It's going to start moving to the upside. We're also seeing a good range playing out here, targeting 70 cents, and then from there we can obviously revisit and reforecast, because you can only go so far looking at this little information here. Obviously, from the grand, time frame, or from the biggest outlook, we can see here that this range, once it does break, it's going to go double digits and beyond very easily. Okay, so it's important to understand time frames. It's important to understand that I am bullish in the midterm, right? Of course, there is a possibility it can go lower, but overall, I believe in the long-term value here because of this range, how bullish it is, how volume is picking up, and how the RSI looks good on all of the charts that I just shared. And that is pretty much it. I'd like to come to this with a reasonable, logic, data-driven conclusion, which I think, I did a fair job at right now. So if you guys think otherwise, if you think I'm missing something, please leave a comment below. I would definitely like to, interact with you guys. And also, we saw a Coinbase filing a Michi brief. I just uploaded a video on that. You can go literally to my last video if you guys want to see what's happening with the Ripple lawsuit, which will obviously impact the price of XRP, because XRP is delisted. Once it gets clarity, exchanges will list it, which will be interesting. And yeah, thank you guys for making it this far into the video. Please like and sub if you have not already. And as always, haro haro haro, peace.